Welcome back to Making the Case. I'm Sharon Reed, in for Yodit Tewolde. Yet another violent arrest caught on video. It has a family tonight demanding deputies in a Texas county be arrested and charged for using excessive force. Body cam footage shows officers punching and kicking the woman while trying to take her into custody. BNC's Derrick Lewis is in Harris County with what led up to this altercation and the family's efforts for justice.
Affirmative.
This body cam video of several Harris County deputies arresting 19-year-old Isis Calderon is hard for her family to watch.
They're ultimately scared of what's happening, what happened to their sister Isis in police custody.
The Calderon's family lawyer says police
On the ground, get on the ground.
should not have responded this way.
A mental health specialty unit should have gone out and talked to Isis, and to be able to de-escalate the situation.
The video shows a deputy kicking and punching Isis multiple times before she's taken into custody.
Ms. Gonzalez disregarded repeated commands and resisted being detained.
The family wants the deputies involved to be fired and charged with using excessive force.
We also do not draw any conclusions about whether the deputies acted in accordance with our policies and the law until all the facts are known and the investigation has concluded.
The family believes police reform nationwide would help as they focus on getting Isis the help they say she needs.
What we would not want to see happen is her to return to the streets and this happen to her again, or maybe escalate into a worse situation.
That was BNC's Derrick Lewis. Thanks for that. In the days and months following George Floyd's murder, we were promised meaningful police reform. However, for so many in the black and brown communities harassed by police, victims of police brutality, it doesn't seem like it's come nearly fast enough. Joined now by two experts to help us try and sort it all out, make sense of what's been going on across the country. With me is retired police sergeant for the San Francisco Police Department, Brian Piegler, and senior writer for Making the Case, our colleague, and also former criminal defense attorney, Rebecca Cavanaugh. Welcome to both of you. Let's start with you, Brian. In the footage there, the scene quickly spiraled out of control. It got violent immediately, it seemed. What should the officers have done differently? How should they have approached the situation?
Well, Ms. Reed, I only had the benefit of a few seconds of the video clip you just showed. It's basically all I had the opportunity to see. I didn't get body camera video. I didn't get conversation before. All I can go on is what I saw for the few seconds of footage that I just viewed and had viewed earlier today. If you're asking me what should they have done, now, as you know, these things happen very fast. The decision appears to be...
Do they happen, though, and I apologize for interrupting you, though. Do they happen that fast, or does one side or the other tend to, in too many of these instances, escalate it quickly?
Okay, it depends on the situation. And I've had a 32-year career, state and federal, FBI and SFPD, and it depends on the situation. Now, I would hope there was some conversation prior to the actual use of force occurring. So what happened during that conversation? Did they ask the woman to turn around, handcuff, do what? Did they know she was mentally ill? I don't know, ma'am. But all I can tell you is the use of force that I saw is authorized, but was it appropriate for that situation? I would say the overhand, it looked like two or three underhooks, maybe a couple of right crosses, the knee to the head. Is that necessary? Would I have done that? I would say, no, I would not have. I would continue to talk.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to me to be that volatile of a situation at that point in time where we had more time to discuss, to try to come up with a solution. Other than
because there was that I thought I saw the gloved fist, and as you said, I thought I saw the kick, and I thought I saw 3 against 1, and perhaps all of that is protocol, but it is jarring to watch. And Rebecca, I want to bring you in the conversation now. The family is calling for the officers involved to be arrested based on what you saw. is it enough? Because you heard the police spokesman say, hey, listen, she ignored commands. Does ignoring commands mean that this should happen? Should they be charged?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take issue with my fellow guest's characterization of this incident. I don't know that there's any situation where you can say that kicking someone or in the other videos that I believe we're going to discuss, that kicking someone in the head, punching them when they're in cuffs. But even in this one situation that we've seen the video in, there's just no justification for that use of force. This incident also, we only saw a portion of the video, but my understanding is that that encounter went on for some 30 minutes. That woman was trespassing in a supermarket parking lot, and that's just not an acceptable sort of interaction. And whether, as to whether arresting those officers is enough, I mean, sure, that might be enough to deal with that particular incident in terms of if they're fired, if they're criminally charged, then that gets them off the street. But it doesn't do anything to address the larger issue that I believe we're going to talk about, where we have these videos that we see repeatedly, right? We see the one that we're going to discuss, the video in Detroit, the video in Miami. So you can get some sort of individual accountability, maybe, if they're charged, because we saw the police commissioner or the person speaking about the incident, he wasn't even acknowledging that there was any sort of violation of police policies here. So, but you have to do something much more to get to the core of the issue.
Yeah, and so you brought up Miami. Let's go there next. No, go ahead. Go ahead. You can respond, but I do want to move to Miami. But go ahead quickly.
Yeah, with all the respect, I don't understand. I don't know if your other guest understood what I'm saying. I didn't say that was justified. I'm saying the use of force, a knee, a right cross, a fist, is all part of the continuum. You could pick up a rock if you have to, when you're trying to effect an arrest or protecting life, protecting the life of yourself, your partners, the civilians. You can use that type of force. But was it justified in this situation? I say I wouldn't have used that type of force.
Yeah, I think I get it, but some of that sounds like a bit, forgive me, of semantics, right? If it's allowed and they do it, then wouldn't that be justified? Isn't that what they're relying on? Isn't that what we see all too often? But let's go to Miami, because it's another disturbing case of police brutality down there. Miami Beach, 24-year-old Dautanta Crudup. She ran from police through a hotel lobby after allegedly hitting a Miami Beach police officer with his scooter. You can see Crudup try and get on an elevator. Hopefully we'll see this at some point. Stop though, and here it is, running through. He is stopped at gunpoint. Okay, here we are, right? This is what it comes to. Crudup complies on the ground there. Okay, and this is key. Hands behind the back. Seconds later, well, here come other officers running up, right? Surrounding. The scene spirals out of control. Again, he laid down, hands behind the back, and he's still kicked numerous times, dragged. His head slammed on the ground as officers try and move him. This is not an isolated incident. And we're not suggesting, Brian, that all officers, right, are doing this, right? You said you had a 32-year career. We have to believe we have you on this show. You're honorable, and this was not you. But it is too many men and women in blue. So the fact that we see multiple officers run over to Crudup, essentially pile on, what's that about after he's cuffed on the ground?
Absolutely correct. In my career, I've been on specialized units, elite units with hand-picked individuals. This video, just from what I'm looking at on what you just showed, is absolutely over the top. It's way too many police officers. The individual appeared to me to be handcuffed. The situation appeared to be code 4 enough, meaning you have control. You had 2 officers. That's way too many officers for a situation, because it's just all it could cause is the other officers
But
to
Brian,
get hurt.
can I ask you something? Can I ask you this, though, because you use the phrase over the top, and I respect it, and I respect you, but do you get angry? Are you angry when you see representations like this, men and women in blue who are behaving like this? Do you get upset? Because to be over the top doesn't seem like that quite goes far enough. Does this upset you because it shows disrespect to the shield?
100%. Yes. 100%. Yes. The most egregious act I've ever seen was the George Floyd situation. I couldn't believe it. We talked to my friends, my partners, ex-co-workers. Couldn't believe it. This situation here, way too much, way too many police officers. Now, would I condone behavior of this nature? No, I saw a sergeant there, and I saw a sergeant at the end of this video. I don't know if you showed it yet or not. Just walk by and kick the individual in the head. Yeah. I was trained. I know this is not a personal situation for me. This is not a personal situation for professional police officers. And there's no way I'm going to walk by a situation which is code 4, as I mentioned before, meaning the situation is under control, and kick him in the head. That's a personal situation. And that individual, I would say, based on what I saw, should be fired. There's no other reason for it. There's no explanation for that.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, fired and maybe charged, right? Because if you or I did that, surely we'd be charged. Rebecca, we'll let you have the last word because we did see 20 police officers involved. Not one of them intervenes to stop the brutality. So, you know, if your counterpart tonight is upset and angry at that behavior, you have to think that if more police officers would police themselves in this kind of conduct, we wouldn't see so much of it. Just 5 were arrested, charged with misdemeanor battery. Again, we're watching this. From your experience, should more have been laid upon them?
Yes, and that's the problem. When when an ordinary person is arrested and charged, a black person or a brown person, unfortunately, most commonly, they stack the complaints or the indictments. They're overcharged. When we see police officers arrested, they charge them with the bare minimum. So that we have 5 officers here charged with misdemeanors. The conduct is clearly felony conduct. They only charged 5. So that sends a message, obviously. These other 20 police officers who clearly did nothing to report it because we only know about the incident from the cell phone video, they get away scot-free. So obviously that means that they have no incentive in any future incident to report the incident. The message is that you can do whatever you want to do, and there are no consequences. So that is the problem, and we see it time and time again, that police officers, when they do engage in these acts of brutality, are charged with, if anything, misdemeanors. And there are no consequences for the people who witness it and do nothing and don't report it. And that is one of the major problems. So definitely,
with all due respect,
Rebecca,
if I could close on this, ma'am.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I will give you 10 seconds. Throughout my career, I've seen thousands and hundreds of situations where police officers reported, had say stopped, pulled other police officers off situations, this, that, and the other. I'm not by any means trying to defend those officers, but let me tell you, it doesn't make the news, and it happens all day, it happens every day, and I did it hundreds of times myself.
Well,
so please stop with the generalities, because the generalities are part of the problem.
Whoa. Yeah, hey, no, and I got you, both of you, points well taken, but Brian, with all due respect, generalizations on both sides, right? On both sides.
Yes, absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
You know, it's a spirited discussion. We could talk about it some more. And you know what? I understand. But let's keep talking about it, and I hope you'll come back. And you know what? The two of you together, I want to see you keep going at it, because these are important conversations that we definitely need to have.
To what she said. Can't make generalizations.
No, I understand.
Like Thank you.
You're good. You're well. Okay. Right. Well, retired police sergeant for the San Francisco Police Department, Brian Piegler, and our senior writer for Making the Case, our colleague and former criminal defense attorney, Rebecca Kavanaugh, who made her point tonight as well. Thank you both.